In this video, we'll be talking about how to reforge items at Withers, but also our sponsor, FlexiSpot. I just got a new standing desk from FlexiSpot, which I need because I want to be able to walk on my treadmill while also playing games, but more on that later. First up, did you know Withers can reforge items, making them more powerful? This can be done without any mods, and reforging an item can grant it more abilities. For example, you've probably never seen the Undead Slayer crossbow, a weapon so elusive that it doesn't even exist on any Baldur's Gate 3 Wikipedia sites. And it's so rare because it can only be acquired by forging it through Withers, and there is more than just this crossbow that can be forged. The King's Knife, which can be found on a Dwergar in the Grimforge, can be reforged into very rare quality, which then makes it one of the best short swords in the entire game. The Trident of the Waves can be reforged to gain an additional 1d4 cold damage, and the Staff of the Ram can be reforged to gain an additional 1d6 force damage. However, I was testing reforging all sorts of items through Withers, and some items will have all their magical properties stripped from them when reforged. For example, Bloodthirst, when reforged through Withers, will turn into the Blade of the First Blood, a common quality dagger. The Abyss Beckoners are the same. When reforged, they lose all their magical properties and become just a pair of gloves. So reforging through Withers can be a gamble if you don't know which items to reforge. To get Withers to reforge your items, all you need to do is equip the item you want to reforge on a hireling, then go to Withers and say you want to dismiss that hireling, and immediately tell Withers you want to hire that exact same hireling again, and when the hireling returns, the equipment will be reforged. Now, because dismissing the hireling involves sending them back to the Fugue plane, items that can be reforged in this way are called Fugue Forgeables. There were quite a few items that I was interested in trying to reforge because they've always seemed like there should be more to them. The Staff of the Moon Maiden was one item, but unfortunately it couldn't be reforged. However, the Tarnished Ring that you can create by combining the ringless gem and the gemless ring was actually changed by the Fugue plane. The mysterious uncommon ring is actually converted into a common ring. Now, it's not the direction I wanted it to go in, but it did change. In total, this is only 6 items, so I'm sure there are more items that Withers can reforge that we haven't yet discovered. And next up is the Hidden Hat Bag. This bag is actually hiding in plain sight and will always contain a hat. On the beach that you awake on after escaping the Nautiloid, almost immediately to your left, you'll find a backpack that will always have a hat. Options include the Ignoble Hat, which looks quite nice actually, described as foppish and fluffy and built for just the right sort of dome accustomed to having it set upon the head by other people. If you put it on Shadowheart, it even changes her hairstyle, which is pretty interesting. You can also get the Brimmed Hat, which looks like a wizard hat, and the flavor text reads, "This wizardly hat has a little embroidered rabbit inside its lining. The rabbit is called Snowball, and once he was lost, never to be found." There's also the Old Floppy Hat, which looks a bit like a typical hat. It's described as being whacked around more often than a clown in a tragedy. The Frumpy Hat is another possible find inside the hat bag. The text reads, "There is something of the frumpy explorer who keeps lots of cats in the aesthetic of this hat." I think the hat also looks like a pretty standard hat. And the last possible hat that you can find in the hat bag is the Rufflesome Blaggart Hat. This hat looks similar to the Ignoble Hat, but a different color and without the plumage. It is described as for the discerning raconteur, spinner of stories, and peacockish personality, essentially a bard's hat. I think it's amazing because who would have thought so many hats can be found in a simple backpack right on the beach when you start the game to help you make your character look a little more stylish and cool. And if you're into items that look cool, there's a real life good looking item to look into. This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot, and I recently got a very nice looking standing desk from them. I personally need a standing desk because sitting all day isn't great for my body. It's rough for my lower back and my legs can get really stiff. Standing lets me move around and even walk using a treadmill without losing any gaming time. In my daily life, I love to end my day with a nice walk as well, while gaming using a standing desk, which I noticed actually helps me fall asleep easier too. My favorite feature about this standing desk is that it is sturdy. I was surprised how heavy it is, and I love when furniture is heavy. The lifting mechanism has a robust and premium feel, and it is very sturdy, which is perfect since wobbly desks vex me greatly. The E7 has an incredibly high weight capacity of 355 pounds and an adjustable height height range that will suit everyone. I'm 6'3" and it goes even higher than what I would need. FlexiSpot is a great choice for a standing desk because it's easy to assemble and it's great value for the price. The E7 delivers what more expensive desks offer at a fraction of the price. Not only that, but FlexiSpot's E7 standing desk has up to 15 years warranty and a 30-day risk-free return service. So if you're ready to start enjoying the benefits of a premium standing desk, head on over to FlexiSpot.com and try out their E7 or their E7 Pro, which is even more stable, built specifically for heavy equipment on the desktop. And next up are hidden changes made to a secret item that can be used to summon minions. On the cliffs just outside the Emerald Grove, you can find a rocky crevice. By passing the DC 10 perception check, you can interact with the crevice, and once you do, you'll notice there is a bag inside it. To obtain the bag, you'll need to pass a DC 15 sleight of hand check. Interestingly though, even if you fail the check to grab the bag, you can actually still obtain it by just trying again. If you succeed the check, then great, but if you fail a second time, this will actually spawn 4 crag spiders, which will be hostile towards you, but after dispatching them, you can once again interact with the crevice and just grab the bag. Now inside this bag is the spider egg sac. This spider egg sac will summon 5 crag spiders, which are allied to you and controllable and will last until long rest. Not only that, but your target will need to pass a DC 8 wisdom saving throw in order to avoid becoming frightened. It's a pretty easy saving throw to pass, which is why I actually didn't even know it could cause frightened, but if you daze your target first, you might have better luck since daze gives disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. If you are able to retrieve the bag through dialogue, you will gain inspiration called Sticky Fingers for anyone with an Outlander background, which Karlach has. And this item is pretty rare since this is the only way to acquire it, since it can't be crafted through alchemy, even though the web grenade, which can be crafted through alchemy, has the exact same icon. And next up is an insane weapon that is completely OP. This weapon adds 3d4 bludgeoning damage when hitting with a melee spell attack, such as Shocking Grasp. However, using the Daredevil gloves, we can turn our ranged spell attacks into melee spell attacks when we are threatened by a hostile creature. This means we can get this bonus damage on any of our ranged spell attacks. It's best used with Scorching Ray and will activate our damage riders multiple times. This translates into lag-inducing amounts of damage, and you can probably defeat any target in a single turn. Now, even without hold person, I was able to take Saravak down with one action thanks to Callous Glow Ring and Hex combined with this weapon. With guaranteed critical strikes, I don't think any target would stand a chance. Also, since these weapons are light, you don't need the dual wielder feat in order to dual wield them. Now, to get this weapon, the Twisting Branch, you need to summon a woodland spirit, which can be done by a druid. Then summon a woodwode by using the spell Fallen Lover, which the dryad has. Then steal your summon's weapon by opening its inventory and very quickly grabbing it and dropping it on your currently equipped weapon. Repeat this for a second one, and the Daredevil gloves can be purchased from Ajak near Jira in the Kresh. And next up is how to cast spells through Rage. You shouldn't be able to do this because Rage's tooltip says you can't cast or concentrate on spells while raging, but there are a number of spells that you can cast and maintain concentration on while raging. This is a big deal because certain items like the Strange Conduit Ring grant a plus 1d4 bonus psychic damage to attacks while concentrating, or the Thorn Blade, which grants a plus 1d4 poison damage to melee attacks while concentrating. So concentrating while raging can be quite beneficial. Some of the spells that you can cast while raging would require multi-classing into Trickery Domain, Shadow Monk, or Glamour Bard, but more practically, there are some concentration spells that we can cast while raging that come from items. The Shadow of Menzo Baranzan's invisibility can be used while raging, but that goes away once you take an action. Garrote from Ballast Gloves works through rage, and so does Dazzling Ray from the Fabricated Arbalest. Since no awkward multi-classing is required, these are more practical uses to gain concentration benefits while raging, although these items are acquired deep into Act 3. It's also worth noting that you can cast these spells while raging, but if you're already concentrating on these spells when you rage, then concentration will be lost. And next up is a secret armor that is so light it doesn't even count as you wearing it. The Elven Chain is a remarkable armor that works with items such as the Bracers of Defense, which grant you a +2 AC bonus as long as you're not wearing armor or holding a shield. Elven Chain has a feature that considers the wearer proficient while wearing it and grants +2 to initiative rolls and advantage on dexterity saving throws. But it doesn't say that it's not considered armor, which makes this bonus easy to miss. This means that we can also get the +1 AC and saving throws bonus as well from the Bone Spike boots while wearing Elven Chain, and even the +2 bonus to saving throws from Coralon's Grace that only applies when the wielder is not wearing armor. This makes Elven Chain actually pretty good for builds centered around items that grant these types of bonuses, and this armor is sold by Xvikyap in Rivington. And next up is an item meant for Gale that is easily missed. This item is the Frayed Drow Hood, and despite it having no magical properties, it can be absorbed by Gale. This makes it an ideal sacrifice since you're not really losing anything, and why this is suitable for Gale is unknown, but I'll take it. And to find the Frayed Drow Hood, just head into the Underdark and go to the Spectator ambush point where all the petrified drow are frozen. On top of the cliff, there's a backpack containing the Frayed Drow Hood. Just watch out for the torch stalk. And next up is Magrin's Hidden Dialogue. Magrin is the druid that shapeshifts into a bear when the tieflings tried to get through to rescue Arabella in the grove. However, if you manage to save Arabella without triggering this cutscene, you can actually go back to Magrin and talk to him while he's still in his human form. This is the one time it appears the developers did not plan for everything, because Magrin's mouth does not move at all during this dialogue where he says, "You're lucky I'm not in my bear form, back off." Although the fact he has anything to say is pretty surprising. To pull this off, just go towards the elevator right when you enter the Emerald Grove and jump down, first onto one of the pillars, then on the ground to avoid taking too much damage or dying, and then head straight for Kaga and save Arabella, then return to Magrin and you can hear this super rare dialogue. And next up is a permanent power-up for only Warlocks and Eldritch Knights. By choosing to be a Hexblade Warlock, Pact of the Blade Warlock, or Eldritch Knight, you can learn to bind weapons. This can be used in many beneficial ways, but it can also permanently empower the Charge-bound Warhammer. This weapon has a feature called Galvanic Currents, which causes the weapon to deal an additional 1d6 lightning damage, but only if it's bound to an Eldritch Knight or is a Warlock's Pact weapon. However, the bonus damage remains on this weapon even if another weapon becomes bound. So Warlocks and Eldritch Knights can bind the Charge-bound Warhammer, bind a different weapon, and then give the Warhammer to another player to use and still enjoy the bonus damage, meaning only these two classes can permanently empower this weapon. And next up is how to guarantee putting Bane on a target. The Ritual Axe has a feature called the Scourge Mistress's Bane, which has a chance to inflict a 1d4 penalty to attack rolls and saving throws, which is basically Bane. If the attacker has 50% or more hit points, they take 1d6 piercing damage themselves. This actually has no saving throw and will always inflict Bane. Of course, you do need to land the attack to cause Bane, but if you've got that covered, then this is on-demand free Bane at the low cost of 1d6 piercing damage to yourself. And the Ritual Axe can be found in the Shattered Sanctum on the table next to Abdurak. And don't forget to check out FlexiSpot's E7 standing desk. FlexiSpot is a great choice for a standing desk because it's easy to assemble and is great value for the price. The E7 delivers what more expensive desks offer at a fraction of the price. FlexiSpot's E7 standing desk has up to a 15 years warranty and a 30-day risk-free return service, so you have nothing to lose. If you're ready to start enjoying the benefits of a premium standing desk, head on over to FlexiSpot.com and try out their E7 or their E7 Pro, which is even more stable, built specifically for heavy equipment on the desktop.